Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the
Conversations that matter.
show
Show. Episode number
14.
14. All right. Even though it says 13 at the moment,
I'm gonna
but
change
it's
it
okay.
later.
We will
Don't
change
you
it later.
worry, child.
So, Yannis,
Yeah, mate.
first week in Manchester.
Manchester, yeah.
Tell me all about it.
Uh, Work, rain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's. I think I'm used to Manchester right now. Like if we were talking like last year, I would be telling you that I miss home, and of course I miss home. But at least now I've been in UK for over a year now, so it's like it is what it is. I've been here. I've grown a social circle. I have my life, so everything comes into pieces. Um, but yeah, just hustling and working and developing stuff, ideas, and everything goes perfectly.
Great. Nice, 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 nice.
What about you?
If it is any comfort for you, like it was raining here too in Athens, so you got us. Yeah,
No, we spent like 3 days without rain here, so it's a big advancement, I think.
yeah, it is. But still no sun, right?
What is the sun?
Exactly. So I've been doing a new thing on my blog um,
Oh, tell me about it.
it, about it's essentially a daily journal, right? And the idea behind it is to stay consistent with the art of writing and the act of writing. And I will be uploading. Like the idea is to write at least 300 words every day, every morning. Is is also of my is a part of my morning routine, and I will be writing and posting on Instagram and also on my website. I'm hoping to do it for at least I don't know 6 months or something like that,
Nice.
uh, and as consistent as possible. I'm gonna be drawing many ideas from the Daily Stoic because at the same time of writing my blog, I'm also writing on the Journal of the Daily Stoic and also reading the Daily Stoic book.
Yeah.
Uh, so a lot of ideas are going to translate from one journal to the from my personal journal to the public journal in a way. Of course, as you can understand, it's not possible for me to write the same things because the
Yeah.
one is very very personal, the other one is not. It's personal but not that much personal,
Definitely. Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that. Um, I've seen already like very good comments and like feedback and people looking forward to this type of content, which is something that really amazed me
Yeah.
because I didn't think like that many people would be interested because usually what people want is somewhat of a structure, and like a beginning, a middle point, and an end point. But it seems that people also like to see things like grow in front of them, like a story develops in front of them, and there's a documentation of my morning thoughts on paper, like on digital paper at least. And I've already gotten very good feedback, and people like looking forward to what's going to happen next, which is really really nice because it's also a way of looking at the future, right? To be optimistic about the future. Like people want to see what will happen in the future, and this is a very like a good positive energy for me. So this is one of the things that happened this week.
Yeah, certainly. I look forward as well. You should know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bravo.
We will be discussing many of them.
It's
Like
gonna be,
I,
a hell of stoic thoughts. I'm really looking forward for our discussions in the future.
we will be discussing a lot of things, and we're actually going to start today
Oh
because
yeah.
yeah. Because today's daily stoic, for example, it was about doing things out of habit,
Oh.
okay,
Hmm.
and like submitting yourself into a mechanical mode where you do things automatically without thinking,
Yeah.
okay, and this actually subtracts from the joy and the innovation and the creativity of doing new things, okay. And what the stoics, okay, quote unquote, say that um, if you find yourself doing something out of habit, then you should really like take a step back and ask yourself the question, why do I do why the things that I do, right? So you need to redefine and be very clear about what the why behind the things that you do, okay. Because if you go into like automatic mode and your default answer is like, oh, because everybody's doing it, okay, or like something along the lines of, well, I am doing this particular way because everybody's doing it this way, you know. But this actually as I said before, it subtracts from the originality, the authenticity, the creativity of the process, okay. So what happens is like you're just you double around in your everyday life just because it's a habit, it has become a habit to you, okay. And this doesn't have to do only with bad habits, but also with productive habits. So it's not a matter of like smoking or binge drinking or watching Netflix all the time, right? It's essentially engaging in activities out of habit, and no matter what you do in that sense is like something that you really are not engaged with it, and it becomes, I don't know how to explain it in another way, like even if your
It becomes
daily
effortless.
job, right,
Effortless.
it
Yeah.
becomes an automated process, then you actually you lose part of your life with it in a way.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the point. So the what also inspired me is this, and I'm gonna let you um, develop your own thoughts on this, is that a Warren Buffett quote which said that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too strong to be broken,
Say that
which
one
is
more time.
the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too strong to be broken.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, which means that we engage in habitual behaviors and we take up habits, okay, we adopt habits without knowing it, but the moment that we realize that we are just habitual creatures, you know, we act as out of habit, then it's already too late. It's almost impossible to break a habit. All right, so please let me know about your thoughts on this topic, because I find it really interesting, like the amount of how much we act out of habit as like creatures, you know.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, for the people that don't know what the book you described is, we we, we need to say that Daily Stoic is a book from Ryan Holiday, and I recommend it personally. You recommend it first to me, and I'm really loving it. It basically gives you like it's like a page a day book where you read one Stoic principle, and then it gives you like an explanation. And the daily Stoic journal, I think that's how it's called. It's again by Ryan Holiday, where you have practical exercises. I don't have it yet, but it will be on my future plans to check it out as well. So for the people that don't know and are interested in the stoicism and philosophy and journaling in general, we totally recommend it, both of us. Now I don't know where to start and where to finish with what you said, because it's a huge it's so true. Like I cannot disagree, not even on the milli santi nanometer of what you said. It's so true, and I agree as much as possible, because having a why behind what you do will give you the opportunity to, when you do something, it does not feel like work. It's like, you're going out for a walk, or you going out with your friends for a beer. When you do things and you have a strong why behind your actions, when you do something and you have a purpose and a goal on what you're doing, then everything seems effortless. And because I'm a proud Greek, let's talk about how Stoics were calling this thing, which is the telos. Telos is the ancient Greek word, which in modern Greek is translated as skopos, and basically means purpose. And for me, having a purpose in your life and having a why, as you said, is so much critical for your success, because it's basically your, having a compass on what you're doing. Because if you don't have a compass, then you just go with the flow, which is useful sometimes. But if you go with the flow might take you to places that you don't want to go, or you were not born to go, or you are not supposed to go in general. Whereas if you know yourself, first of all, γνώθεις αυτόν, as ancient Greek were saying, so, know thyself. It's super important. So I think we should go also a step back, that first of all, someone should define who he is, what he's like what are his strong points, what are his personal characteristics, what are his personal aspirations. And then from that, we should build into finding a why, which is most probably, in accordance with himself, his personality. And then by following the why, like no matter what happens in your life, you can just keep going, because for you, the pain from disappointing yourself for not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this world should be so much bigger than the pain from a failure. That's how I see it, that's how I perceive it, and that's how I try to at least lead my life and live my life, of course.
That's yeah, exactly that. You find ways to engage yourself in a meaningful manner, and this in itself like creates positive energy. And by positive, I don't mean like the power of positive thinking. I mean like this sort of energy that drives you forward in a certain direction, instead of the chaotic energy that messes with your mind and makes you like all neurotic and stuff, and it's a really important idea. I like to reflect on it, I believe.
Aiming to that, yeah.
Yeah.
And we tend not to reflect. That's a problem, I think. We tend like to be like a sheep instead of the wolf. We just follow. You remember the discussion we had yesterday, and you don't take like the initiatives. You don't take your life in your own hands. You don't grab the bull by the horns. You just follow the rest of the pack, and you become someone with no personal aspirations, no personal goals, and you just do what others are doing because it's cool, because it's modern, because it's what other people are doing, because. But we forget that the most important thing, the most important person in our life is ourselves. And if we disappoint ourselves, then this will go as a snowball effect. Yeah, as a snowball effect in all the other aspects of our life. For example, if we're disappointed, if we're not happy with our work life, for example, then this will definitely affect our sex life, our social life, our every other aspect of our life.
Exactly. It's like what you said, the snowball effect. One thing collapses, and before you know it, like everything else collapses. And it's not like to make people like feel afraid of life. Life is overwhelming at times. A lot of things that you have to do and you have to manage. But at the same time, you have to be mindful of the people that you hang out with, the quality of your environment, the quality of your health, your financials and all these things, right? But I really like what you said about wolf versus sheep, and I think this is manifested in our society very, very much today. Because, for example, let's say that you want to, I don't know, you want to do something, let's say like edit a video, right? Or I don't know, design a website, something like that. Okay. The first thing that you do is what? Go on YouTube or on Google and like type how to design like website, right?
Yeah.
And you just follow the instructions. Whatever they give you, you do it, right? And this is practical, of course, in a way, okay, but and it's probably like the best idea for men for most of people. But what this makes you like adopt as a habit, to go back to what we were talking about, habits, is the idea of like, okay, I have a problem, I don't think for myself, I just have to like Google it, okay? And after I Google, I don't have to think about the information that is being given to me, I just have to follow the recipe, okay? And what slowly but surely happens is that you turn your entire life into like a cooking recipe, okay? So there is no imagination, there is no creativity, there is no authenticity, there is no originality, no original thoughts whatsoever. You just find like a 5, 10, 15 step process, like you were actually cooking a recipe, and you follow that, and you do that in every area of your life because information is so accessible, okay? So after a while, what ends up happening is that instead of Yannis living Yannis life, Stratis living Stratis life, Maria living Maria life, we we all live like a life from that guy that we found on YouTube, for example, and we follow that specific guide, and like there is no variety, okay? There is no spark, in a way. It's all so practical and so like informational and so logical, and this takes away like the human part of it, okay? Which only comes when you engage mindfully, I think. So
Dude, that's really interesting what you just said. Like engage mindfully. Ooh, I really like that.
yeah, I think it's something that we all ought to do, right? Because uh, that's for me too. Like if I have a problem, the first thing I do is Google it, okay? And like the first solution that I find is the solution to Google it, and then from the list of solutions on Google, I choose like the most popular, uh, like as a first step, and then because of my ignorance and because of my impatience many times, I just do like the simplest, most popular, most easy thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like this completely distracts me and prevents me from doing something on my own, like something new, okay? Which may not be new, of course it will probably not be new, but it will be a new experience for me, and it will be the sort of like subjective experience that will push me forward and give me permission, like give permission to myself, like to try new things and fail, instead of like outsourcing and delegating all my responsibility to
Yeah.
Google. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And it's it's really bad that people don't. You hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because I wasn't sure about the mic. It's strange that people are like, yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah, we cannot change everyone, right?
Yeah, but and slowly but surely, like people that do this, myself included, of course. I'm not any different than any of us and any of you. Is that we are like digging our own graves, right? Because the most important and complicated problems in life, you cannot find solutions for them on Google. Okay, and for your personal issues, okay, things that hurt you, things that like make you stay awake at night, these things are not on Google. These are problems that you have to deal with yourself, and you have to engage with your problems, right? And you have to fight your demons in ways that only you know. And this gives you the strength and the courage to say that I try to do this. If it fails, that's okay. If it succeeds, okay, that's even better. But it's something that starts and it ends with you, right? It doesn't have to do with Google. It doesn't have to do with YouTube. It doesn't have to do with gurus and mentors and teachers and guidebooks and holy books and any of that shit, right? It starts and ends with you. And this is like also like my biggest belief is that everything starts with you, right? And but we delegate so much of it like online, and because it's so easily accessible, it's like exactly, I think it's exactly the same problem as like pornography or like addiction to video games or addiction to fast food or anything like that. Okay, you give up the responsibility of saying that I got this, I am responsible.
Yeah.
Responsible, by the way, means able to respond, like I am able to take action in a way that I want to do. Okay, and this is it, man. Like we have to deal with it, I think.
Look, I think even if there is the answer to your problem on the internet, like most probably, if you have a personal problem, like you broke up with your significant other, or you, I don't know, you deal with depression or whatever, there will be tons and tons and tons of information over there on the web. But these are other people's opinions, these are other people's lives, these are other people's solutions. And as you said, and I agree so much to that, is you need to, sit down and deal with your demons yourself. Like those feelings of bitterness, cherish the feelings of pain, cherish the feelings of being like helpless, cherish all those things because they are part of your life. And by sitting on them, maybe meditating on them, maybe reflect on them, you basically practicing yourself to look the danger in the eyes and be like, you know what, fuck you danger, fuck you pain, I'm better than that. I accept you for who you are, I accept myself for who I am, I love myself, and I will move on. But only when a man stands into his ground and starts like reflecting his thoughts and problems himself, he will be able to deal with them. Otherwise, it's just escapism. Like, okay, I have a problem with my partner, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start getting drunk, so I will forget about it. I have a problem with my family, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start using drugs so that my mind is always
Yeah.
occupied because I'm stoned. Uh, I have problem with work. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get addicted to watching porn, and like I'm not gonna be able to satisfy myself in other ways because I don't deserve it. So I agree into like definitely sitting down and watching your problems and feeling what you feel. Be mindful on your body, on your mind, on your problems, on your life, because otherwise you just like evade them, and sooner or later they will hit you back harder and stronger than before.
Yeah, exactly. There's no escaping the devil, right? It's like you cannot escape it. You cannot escape it. And I think the clearest metaphor for this is like in the same way that you cannot escape death, right? It's like you cannot escape your big problems. You cannot like close your eyes or look the other way, and that won't make it go away, right? And there is like 0% chance that you will fool yourself enough in order to believe into actually believing that it's like there is no problem. And this is like my biggest objection with you know uh, positive thinking, like and stuff like that. It's like, no, okay, it's like, yeah, you should be optimistic and grateful and uh, in general positive, okay, but like when there's a problem, like there's a problem and you have to deal with it,
Yeah.
okay. And like there's no like other way to put it, right? And if you don't deal with your problems yourself, is like, okay, so I have this problem and I found this guru that gives me XYZ information about how to solve the problem, okay. So what automatically happens is this, like, if the problem gets solved, it's because of the guru, right? He told me the right enough information to make it work, make
Yeah,
it happen, okay. If it doesn't work, then whose fault is it? It's the guru's fault again, right?
of
Because
course.
like
Yeah.
his information wasn't applicable, like he didn't transmit it he didn't transmit the knowledge in a good way, like it wasn't practical, it was out of context, blah blah blah. So what happens is like, okay, you never actually assume responsibility, right? So the next time that this happens again, you've already learned how not to take like responsibility for your actions. And this like accumulates over time and over time and over time. And this creates a huge pile of unsolved problems, okay? Or maybe they're solved but you're not responsible for them, for the solution anyway, okay. So what happens is that you like walk around and in the world, and you like go through life with a bunch of solved problems, a bunch of unsolved problems, but you are still just as incompetent as you were the day you were born,
Hmm.
okay. And this is like the biggest like hit on your confidence, like there is no other thing like that, right? Because confidence can only be measured like in competence levels, right? I am confident like in playing basketball because I have the competency of a guy who played 10 years of basketball, okay. If you put me against a volleyball player, I have no idea what to do. Like if I fake my confidence, uh, I just mind fuck my own self because I don't actually know how to play volleyball. I only know how to play basketball. Okay, but then you cannot fool. You may fool other losers. You're definitely not going to fool winners, but you are most definitely not going to fool yourself, right? No matter what you do, like it's always going to bite you back in the ass 100% of the time. So like the solution to it is like assume the responsibility of failure, and also like uh, like take ownership of your failures, take ownership of your successes as well. And this is like the balance between that, right? And then you live a life like you said, like this is the Yannis life, not the like I don't know, the Peter Sage life, the Tony Robbins life, the I don't know life. Okay, this is the Yannis life, and Yannis's coach is Yannis. Yannis's like student is Yannis, and Yannis's I don't know, like partner is also Yannis, right? So it's like you become this multidimensional personality that can like find the solutions, that can learn how to be defeated, that can learn how to support, to negotiate with himself, and like all these beautiful things.
I really like that. True, true, true. Yeah. And it goes back to the thing you said when we started, that you said that by that you don't do like the simple things that you have to do, and exactly by doing the things as little as you think that you know that are important to your life, then you build a habit.
Exactly.
So yeah, Giannis's life is Giannis's life. Giannis's wins is his wins. Giannis's loss is his wins, is his losses. But
But
can be,
also his wins too, right?
yeah,
Because
definitely,
yeah,
because obstacle becomes the way.
yeah. But like, imagine a life like now you're like 24, okay,
Yeah,
25. Yeah. Anyway,
of course.
uh,
I'm still young, bro.
yeah. Me too. Okay, I am still 24 until the next week.
Guys,
So
next week it's his birthday, so make sure to
yeah,
post happy
drop
birthday in the
me
comments
a
for them.
postcard. Yeah, a birthday card. Like, uh, so imagine like you're 24, okay,
Yeah,
and let's say that you live another 60 years until you're 84, okay,
hopefully.
hopefully more even.
Yeah,
And why not actually? Because I don't know, technology and stuff. So you go through your entire life solving problems that are not your own, and solving problems with ways that are not your own. Okay, so what do you know? Like, what do you think are the chances that a problem will at some point show up that you cannot like delegate to someone else, like that you will have to face on your own? And even though you will have like a huge list of problems, of solved problems, you will have zero knowledge of how to solve the new problem, and then like you will lose big time, right? It's like what they say. An excellent example with this is like from the book Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. He talks about the Grand Turkey problem. I've talked about it, I think, before. It is like a very, very nice things way of looking at things. Like, let's say that there is a butcher, okay, and he's breeding turkeys, okay, for Thanksgiving or for like Christmas, whatever you like. So every day, this butcher, he wakes up and he fills the pots of the turkeys with food and water and all these beautiful things. He makes sure that their home is clean and it's also safe. It is not very windy, not very cold, not very hot, not very wet, etc., etc. So with each passing day, the turkeys on the farm are like increasingly sure, confident that the butcher, that the farmer, is a really, really nice person, right? Because why would he otherwise feed them, uh, give them water, provide them with safety, etc., etc., right? There's no other
yeah,
explanation in the turkey's head. And it's like, you cannot blame the turkey for that, right? So, and like the more like the months pass by, the years pass by, etc., like the turkeys like really become so sure of it, okay, that they feel like the last person that is going to harm them is the butcher, okay. But then what happens is that Thanksgiving comes or Christmas comes, right? And in a fucking moment, in an instant, Okay, the butcher pulls out the cleaver and slays the turkey. Okay, so the turkey, from the state of complete certainty of the future, okay, goes to complete death. Okay, that's a binary example, all right, which goes to show that if you are like unprepared, okay, and you constantly think that you have fooled like everyone, or like everyone is like working for you in a way, and like there is no adversity in your life and you don't have to think things at all, okay, then this will bite you back in the ass asymmetrically greatly, right? Because the price that the turkeys pay is like slaughtering. So exactly that.
Yeah, yeah. I like this paradigm. Like, I have to read this book, man. Like, it's on my wish list for so much time. The Anti-Fragile book, and I remember, like a year ago, I think you talked to me about it, and like another friend of us, Bill, also suggested to me, and I have it on my Amazon list, and I'm like, I'm gonna read it now, this month, no, this month, and like, it should be good, I think, right?
It's something that I think that there will be two possible like outcomes. Either way, you will like discard it completely, like you won't like it because like you will find it difficult to understand some of the concepts, or you may not want to, you may not like the way he writes it or something like that, so you won't read it, you won't ever finish it. But the other like outcome is that you will read it and it will be the most influential book that you've ever read,
Okay.
in my opinion. Like for me at least it is. For anyone else that has read it, it's the same. There are some particular concepts in that book, and the way that he narrates the stories and he brings examples is phenomenal. And the Grand Turkey problem is only like I don't know, 0.001% of like the golden nuggets that are inside the book. I don't know how a person like a single mind can come up with like such knowledge, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
And he also has the your favorite some of the great Greek phrases and words and stuff like that, because he also knows Greek. In
Really?
uh, yeah. He has Lebanese roots, and
Okay.
I think he's also like an Orthodox Christian.
Oh,
Yeah, and he knows Latin, Greek, Arabic, and blah blah blah, etc.
okay. I
Yeah,
dig
yeah,
this guy. Definitely.
yeah. He's very good, and his specialty is actually mathematics, right? Because like in the book, what he essentially does is like he applies statistics and probability and risk analysis like to everyday life. Okay, and he describes like several phenomena from the scope of a mathematician as well as a philosopher as well as an economist, uh, which is like really interesting. And this is actually how the Grand Turkey problem uh, came to be. What's the book that you're reading right now?
Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, basically.
Okay, at which page are you, like middle, end, beginning?
That, like, just before the middle, because I have like an edition of the book where it has some prologue from another, not from himself. Like, it's not just meditations from Marcus Aurelius. It gives you stories and personal examples from his life. So it's like, for example, let me tell you, it has like almost 100 extra pages that are not needed for you to go into meditations, but
Okay.
I found them really interesting because like it gives you bibliography, some notes, and it talks about like the basics, virtues, and it gives you another understanding for the book. It's like giving you a quick course before the main course. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. And I don't know, it started to compete with Pictetus the longer I read
Ethereum.
it.
Oh
I,
wow.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who wins, the
Wow. All
Greek or
right.
the Roman guy.
Wow. That's very interesting. I
Yeah.
think
And
that
then
the historical like context behind it is so incredibly rich and diverse, because on the one hand, like Epictetus was a slave, and Marcus Aurelius was like the strongest man alive, right? He was the emperor of Rome at its peak, and it's like so different backgrounds and experiences, but such similar philosophy. So exciting, because usually what happens is like with a certain philosophy, you find it that it's very much affected by like the economic of the time, like the economical situation, the social situation, uh, the background of the community, etc., etc. But I think that like Stoicism is like very unique in that way, because all of the pioneers of it, like the prime thinkers, the things that invented it in a way, are like completely different from each other, right? Seneca was a playwright. Okay, he was a guy who liked to do theater and stuff like that. Okay, the other guy like was a former slave. The other one was an emperor. It's like completely different.
but I think that's what it's is good about, the books and stoicism. Like it shows you that no matter who you are, if you just apply the simplest, because they are really simple, like things to do and say and think. It's not like something, okay, it's hard to conceive it, but then the only thing you have to do is practice, 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 exactly like mindfulness. And the thing that intrigues me is that, by seeing, like literally seeing that two different people, three different people, and I don't know how many Stoic philosophers there are, but like countless of people with different backgrounds, different lives, different aspirations, they focused on doing some things, and those things changed, transformed their life to the better. And for me, that's something unbelievable. Like it's just follow what these people are saying, and it will change your life. It happened for me, and I'm still like in the beginning of the journey. I'm not at all like a Stoic expert. I'm not at all a Stoic, but some things that I try to implement and remember each day, like help me live a better life. And that's why, we are talking about Stoicism all the time, because we want to reflect those thoughts to other people as well.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Like at least read like 2 pages. I think even from 2 pages you will get a ton of value from it.
True.
Really. And
So
it's
true.
also very interesting because like people of all these different backgrounds, they found like the same lessons to apply to improve their lives in exactly the same way. Um, because nobody like Marcus Aurelius was like extremely rich. Of course, he was the emperor. Seneca was also very rich. Epictetus was a slave, so very poor. Okay, they all concluded that there is zero value in engaging with material. Okay, which is a bit extreme, but they're like, as long as you have like your basic needs covered, anything else that you pursue beyond that is a waste of time for them. Okay, and they came to the conclusion exactly the same way. even the one was extremely rich, the other one was extremely poor. Okay. The same goes with like influence. One was very influential, the other one was a slave again. Like they both found out that it doesn't matter like how much you work for your reputation, for your influence. Okay, these are external things. Okay, etc., etc. The list goes on. It's like it gives you a whole new perspective, and I think that people that struggle to understand stoicism, they can find it easy to understand the people behind stoicism, and like
Mm.
the
Yeah.
cultural background of them, and how different they were in personality, and how different they were in like how well they were off. But it's like the lessons are there, man. They are there.
For us to reap all the benefits.
Exactly. So let's wrap
Excellent.
it up.
Yep. GG, any final thoughts?
No, not really. It's like read fucking books, man. It's like they're good.
Books are cool now. That's what I see, man.
You believe that really? It's like okay, let's not wrap it up because that's interesting. Like,
Yeah,
do you believe that it's becoming like a trend again to
I don't know
be
if
educated, to be smart?
I'm not sure about like to be educated to be smart, but I if I see myself like 10 years ago and now and 10 years later, the main difference will be in terms of reading books because just by reading books, you just become a little bit richer in your life. Like the book that I am, for example, reading now might make me two, three, four, 5 times more money in 10 years from now. And I say that it's cool reading because in school we used to mock people that were like nerds and were reading books outside of what we had to do for the next day. Whereas now I might be the one who will judge someone for not wanting to develop himself. Like, why stay stable? Why stay in stagnation when you know that just by the act of reading a few pages a day, you can develop a better self? Why, like, stay who you are and when you can be someone better? Why not, like, take all the lessons like a sponge from the people that failed before you? Why not like way to find it your own way when other people give you the blueprints that work for them? Why not simply like take the lessons of other people just by giving a few minutes of our day? It's as easy as that, and it can literally change your life. And that's why I'm saying books are cool right now, because if you want to be one of the top people in the world, or like being top in your life, like develop your life, become better in your life, just simply read, man. Like, read.
Hmm, exactly. See, I don't have anything less like to add on to that. It's like, and it's also very interesting to see that, like for example, I've seen like cool people reading, and that wasn't the case like 5 years ago, right? This is because of social media. Like you can actually see cool people reading a book, which makes it cool, right? And what it's like exactly the same as like what Gary Vaynerchuk said that like 10 years ago, online dating was like the nerdiest thing that you could do. Like if you were dating online, you were the biggest nerd, the biggest loser ever, right? But
Yeah.
today, like I don't believe that there's a single person that hasn't tried Tinder or something like that. Like generally speaking, of course. So it's cool, right? The same goes like with social media at the beginning. Like people were like, "Don't do that." It's like staring at the screen all the time and don't having a personal life, a private life, blah blah blah. Now, show me a person that doesn't have a social media, right? There is doesn't exist anyone. So
Things are
This,
changing.
and the
We are
same thing is
changing, and
like
we have to
10 years
adapt.
ago you would never see a cool person read a book, but now all of a sudden you see all these like successful entrepreneurs and YouTubers, influencers, bloggers, blah blah blah, etc. It's like they're all reading books, and like they celebrate it as a fact. It's like they say that if I hadn't read this book, like I wouldn't be Y, right? And you
Yeah.
think to yourself like, oh my god, he's doing that, maybe I should do it too, right?
But
So
again,
I
that's
think,
external. That's external. Like I think it's the same thing as when my family was telling me read books, read books. Yeah, I was 16 years old and I had my mother and father telling me you have to read books. Books are good for you and it will help your life. Or my grandfather was coming and was telling me you need to learn about the Greek history and stuff like that. And I was like, no, come on, I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna do it. And even if I was doing it, I would do it just to, make the boss quote unquote happy. And I wouldn't draw any happiness from that, and I wouldn't draw any conclusions from that, and I wouldn't draw any lessons from that. But when you let someone, go on his own way and follow his path of life, right now I'm learning about Greek history. I'm studying books. I'm not reading books. I'm studying books. You are doing the same. We are studying the books because for us, book is not just something to pass your time. For us, books is something that will transform your life, and it's because we see it like that. Like I read book, book help me, book helps me. I read the book, I read the page, I become a better man. So that's our why. Like, of course, you draw some happiness from, taking some interesting theories and stories. But for me, at least, the basic reasons that I'm reading books is because I want to develop a better self.
well, I loved what you said about studying versus reading. Oh, that I'm gonna write a blog post on it. That's so interesting.
Quote me,
I
mate.
will quote you. Yeah, you will be internally famous on my blog that has like 2 viewers every 1 week.
GG.
Nice. So let's wrap it up now.
Yeah. So yeah,
So study books, don't read books. Study books.
yeah. I feel like Gary Vee when she says something interesting. I was like, that's a cool one.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
yeah, study books and keep watching our podcast.
yeah. That's sort of like brainwashing, right? What's our podcast? What's our podcast? What's our podcast?
I can add it as a background sound,
I oh nice.
every
That's a good idea for the
subliminal
next.
messages.
Yeah. It's like when you reverse um, Led Zeppelin's "Stairway to Heaven." Like at some part it says like "Rot in hell, the devil is coming, and we are all gonna die," something like that.
Really?
Yeah. And there are like a bunch of different songs like that from like most of the bands of the 60s and the 70s. Like if you reverse play them on a particular speed, it's like a satanic 666 number of the beast messages that say about death and misery and stuff like that.
You
Even
think
though like
they did this on purpose?
I don't know, it's a conspiracy for me. I think that they did not. It's extremely hard to do that and at the same time write exceptional music like they did.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
okay. Uh, Final message for the viewers.
Don't forget my birthday. It's next Tuesday on the next podcast. On the next podcast, so please send me gifts. I appreciate it.
Okay, so don't forget to wish Stratis happy birthday next Tuesday. Are we gonna have a podcast next Tuesday?
Of course, we will.
GG.
GG.
And till next time, be happy, work on yourself, develop yourself, study books, and as always, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.